Welcome to the Audacious OBM podcast. I'm your host, Leanne Woff, creator of OBM Academy and founder of Audacious Empires. Each week, my crew and I will explore all things building and scaling an exceptional OBM business. This podcast is here to share how you can charge premium prices, have clients lining up to work with you, and never have to work another weekend again. You can have a thriving OBM business, working with the clients you want, when you want, and charging the price you want. It's time to banish mediocre and become the standout, sought after OBM you know you can be. Hey, lovely. Today, I want to talk to you about your business growth plan. We're going to get purposeful with growth and education. So what does this mean? I wanted to talk to you about this because when we are OBMs, a lot of what we invest our time and energy into is what then feeds through to the business and how it grows. And because of the nature of what we do, a lot of our growth comes from our knowledge and our education. So we have to up-level ourselves and what we understand, what we know, what we can do, what we can't do, all those things to be able to grow the business based on that knowledge. We're not manufacturing a product where if we invest in new machinery, then we're going to create efficiency and then we're going to create more profitability or we're going to be able to expand. We're offering services. And so as much as we can systemize the way we do things, it won't have the same impact on growth as when we're upskilling ourselves in what we know or the way we do what we do. First things first, you're not a hobby. You're a business. So what is the difference there? When I go and start a new hobby, I buy all the bits because it's exciting and it's fun. And then I might take one class on how to do whatever it is. Let's say I'm learning to crochet. I go and take a crochet class and then I have my crochet hook and I have some wool and then I buy more wool and I buy patterns and all those things and it's fun. And then I start to play. And there is no pressure when this is a hobby. It is just when I feel like it, how I want it to develop. Maybe I might decide to sell a scarf or two, but this is not a business model. This is a hobby. And I've learned some things. I've put into practice the skills that I've learned. And then I've created something. Potentially, I've sold something. The likelihood that that is profitable is highly unlikely. If you're a business, from the get-go, the things that you do and invest your time and money into need to have a profit plan at the end. When we're a business, everything we invest our time and our money into need to have a profit plan at the end. Your business will not grow unless you set your intention for it to. And with that becomes a plan. Businesses don't just grow without effort. As much as some people might say, oh, I just did a thing and then it just went from there and it grew and then it did this and then it did that. And I just was like, okay. That's not true, ever, because there is always a person on the other end making decisions and following choices and pathways. They might have opportunities that drop into their lap, absolutely, but it's still their choice on which opportunities to take and how to navigate that. When you have a business, if it's not going to just grow on its own and it's not going to just move the trajectory without you being involved, it needs to be nurtured and steered, which leads me to my main question. Who is steering yours? Just like when we have little kids, when we have children, every child needs to be nurtured in all different ways. And every child needs to have people who know what they're doing around them to help set them up and grow and develop for the rest of their life. And sometimes we don't have all the answers. Just because you've had this child doesn't mean you all of a sudden know everything about everything to do with kids, illness, sport, education. We nurture them, but we don't have all of the skills that we need. And so what we do is we find people who have them. We get doctors involved. We get sleep consultants. We get tutors. We get teachers. There are all of these people that we reach out to and we use to help us nurture and steer these children so that they have the best growth opportunities. And in that same way, we need to do it for our business. You will hear a lot from many people to stop spending on PD, stop spending on professional development, stop spending on personal development, stop buying courses, stop buying memberships. You don't need it. You're wasting your money. You're wasting your time. I'm going to have a little bit of an unpopular opinion right now and say all of that is rubbish. Keep spending. In my opinion, there is a cost to a business when you do PD and you invest in something without completion. When you do PD without purpose, that's where things get messy. When you just randomly buy things, invest your time, or do the first module and not the rest, or go to one call and not the rest, or you've just bought it because it's landed in your inbox and it looks fun, that is a cost to your business. It is not a wise money choice. But stopping spending on PD is not going to solve your growth problems. It is going to hinder your growth plans. What you need to be doing is spending on PD with purpose. I think that that is a necessity to growing your business. So if you're working with a coach, a course, if you're getting consultants in, if you're joining communities, think about why you're doing it and choose wisely. But don't not do it. It's a way that we keep ourselves safe, and we think if we don't spend, we don't spend. There's less risk, but also there's traps that come with that. In my business, I am never not learning something. I always have something on the go, at least one thing. And usually, if I'm honest, I've got about 3 things on the go at one time. Now, don't freak out. I'm not one of those people that just does the, oh, I've got all these things and I'm not really doing any of them. I never want to be that person. But I have different reasons that I learn different things. Even if money is tight and I'm nervous and I'm thinking, oh, can I really afford this? Or this is going to be a bit of a stretch. I never want to be the asset in my business that stunts the growth of that business instead of being the driver of that growth. I want to drive it. And if my own insecurities, fears, wanting to know what it's going to look like on the other end and if this is going to work or not going to work is going to get in the way of that, then I need to change my mindset around it. I need to put in some structure and some framework in what will make it feel easier for me to keep growing and not hindering. So looking at my 3 things, I have a little bit of a bucket approach when it comes to what I'm learning. So usually, if I look back at all the things I've spent my money on, spent my time in, I notice that there are 3 buckets. The first one is a tactical one. So I'll have a tactical learning opportunity, which usually might be a tool. It might be a new way to do marketing, the latest thing in marketing. It might be just improving my general skills as an OBM, something that I'm going to tactically use every day. Something that's I can add to my toolkit and then use for clients. These are the tactical things. Usually I'm learning something like that. And these things can be free or they can be paid. They don't necessarily have to be a paid thing for it to be worth your time. The second one is a community expansion opportunity. So I will sign up to different communities or memberships or networking things where I'm getting to know more people, expanding my network, being around the people that I want to connect with, that potentially I want to work with. And I will invest money in that. And I will invest time in that, getting to know these people. And then the last one is business growth opportunity. This is where I recognize that I don't know it all. And sometimes the things that I need to know to grow my business, I can't find on Google because I don't struggle with tactics. Anything you can Google and there's a step-by-step, here, go do this method, try it this way, I can do all that. But what I can't do is see the things I can't see that are holding me back. And so when I invest in a business growth opportunity, I'm part of a coaching program or I'm part of a mastermind, or I have someone who is working alongside me to show me those things, to help unstick me, to say the hard things when I need to hear the hard things, and to help me move when I feel like I can't. They also will see all the things that are so good about me and my business that I don't necessarily see. And that's something that we miss a lot of the time. And that affirmation sometimes is all you need to keep growing, to recognize you are doing the right thing and you're doing it well. Because we don't give ourselves enough credit, especially if we can't see it. And the only way to see it is to get the outside eyes, the outside perception with people who are strong enough to be honest. And then for you to be strong enough to listen, because that's the other thing. People will try and help, or people can try and guide. But if you're not willing to put yourself on the line a little bit and recognize that this person, whatever they say, is purely to help you, then you're going to stay in the same position and there's no point in you spending money there. So with each of these buckets and these opportunities, I always have a purpose. I want to go in and I want to know why I'm signing up to this thing and what I want to get from it. Sometimes it is, I just want to make more connections, which means that I'm going to have to dedicate time as well as money in interacting with people and starting to build real relationships. I look at it and don't just see it as a transaction of cash going out. I want to see the ROI, and the ROI doesn't necessarily mean dollars back in, but it is whatever I've set the objective as in the first place. The trap here is that some of the time we will hold on to our cash and we feel safer that way. We're not taking any risk. But the problem is when we do that, we're standing still. If we're not moving forward, we're standing still. But in my opinion, standing still is going backwards because of the missed opportunity cost. If you had what you needed to move forward, you would be growing from today. Every step forward is a growth action. But the amount of time that you stop and you stay still, you've lost all that time. You cannot get it back. It is impossible. I have been begging for time machines for my entire life. I still have not got one. If you're standing still, you're not going anywhere and you're just on that hamster wheel. And if you're on that hamster wheel, why? Unless your business is absolutely everything that you've ever wanted it to be and you're happy and you feel like this is going to be consistent in how it all operates, and if the market changes, you're still fine. If you lose a client, you're still fine. If you have to do the same thing day in, day out and not learn new things, then you're happy, great. Stay still as long as you want. But if that's not the case, standing still is not a good plan, at least not for an extended period of time. Sometimes we need to stand still to take a breath and make a decision. That's fine, but don't live there. We're either going forward or we're going backwards. When we look at this feeling of, oh, I don't know what to do here, and I don't know what to spend my money on, or I feel too scared to invest if I can't see that revenue coming in directly back off it or quickly, what do we do? For me, I always look at what the opportunity is and what I can do to make the most of that opportunity. So years ago, I was getting frustrated because I couldn't connect with the type of people that I wanted to connect with. I couldn't find them. And then somebody said to me, there's a lot of these people in this certain program. So I thought, okay, what is this program? And had a look and did all of that. And it was worked out to be $3,500 Australian. And then you get access to the community ongoing. And so at that time, I didn't really need the program, but I wanted access to that community. And I looked at it and there was a payment plan and it went for 12 months. And so it meant that, okay, I was going to pay $350 a month. And that felt scary for me at the time, really scary. But what I knew was if I couldn't make more connections and I couldn't expand my network and get in front of these people and get out of this frustration, that I was going to be standing in the same place that I was then a year later. And I did not want that. I put my big girl pants on and got brave and signed up. And you know what? I found the money. So I wanted the result enough that when I looked at that opportunity and went, what do I do here? I found the money to pay for it. And I created ways to get the money to pay for it. Because I knew that was one thing I needed to work through to keep this business flowing. And it worked. I had to challenge my own thoughts. I had to challenge my feelings. I had to make a decision that might seem risky, but really it was calculated. Because risky was standing still and doing nothing about it and not being willing to back myself and what I wanted for this business. If you take one thing away from this episode, I want it to be that notion that if you find yourself starting to shrink or starting to feel like you want to burrow within yourself and get all of your squirrel nuts and hold them nice and tight and save your cash and not take a step because it's scary and you want to keep yourself nice and safe, all I want for you is to challenge that thought and challenge that feeling and get in the habit of doing that. Because you'll be surprised at the opportunities that you start to see when you start challenging those feelings. When you start looking for ways that you can do things instead of defaulting to, no, I can't, or it's too much of a risk, or I can't right now, but then you never do it in the first place. Like you don't end up doing it even when you can. The opportunities that you see, you would never have before if you just stayed in that little safe zone, taking micro steps. And the way to take bigger steps, to take purposeful steps, is to challenge those thoughts and those feelings. And that's all you're doing. You're challenging them. You're thinking about it a bit more. You're analyzing those a bit more. I'm not saying tomorrow go and spend all your money like crazy that you don't have or anything like that. I'm saying change the way you look at it. And that will take a while. Mindset change always takes a while. But if you can get into that pattern now, you'll see the results. I'm confident you will. If this has resonated with you and you have been thinking, yeah, that's actually me, I'm stuck, or I'm going backwards by not moving forwards and I don't know how to shift that, then come and boost your business with me. If you want a coach who knows this industry inside and outside, then check out OBM Academy. I made it for you because I know this industry, because I know what you need. I've worked with enough OBMs to confidently say that. And so I'll hold your hand if you want someone to hold your hand. But you've got to be willing to take the step forward. So if you're interested in checking that out, audaciousempires.com/OBM-academy. The link is in the show notes. Otherwise, I'll see you next week. Bye, guys. Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of The Audacious OBM. We hope this episode has helped you move forward in your journey to being a standout and sought-after OBM. If you enjoyed the episode, take a second to rate and review. Each review helps us to help other OBMs just like you. If you're interested in learning more about OBM Academy and all that it offers, head over to audaciousempires.com to get all the juicy details. We'll be back next week.